I'm coming back and I'm haunting you for the rest of your life. And then when I meet you in the afterlife, it's on site. Sup? I may be still looking a little rough. Well, my hair's, yeah. But I'm talking like in my face, my eyes. Like the pollen is still, like, I'm trying my best not to rub my eyes, but man. So yeah, that's probably like, I don't know if can I tell that the pollen is messing with me? I don't know. I feel it though. Jesus Christ. I can't wait till this pollen shit is over with. Bees, do y'all think what y'all doing? Y'all clucking up. Stepped up.
And so our story begins. Before it's over, we hope you
What?
will never forget it.
Got it.
It starts with a chance encounter. 3 hikers are backpacking their way through the densely wooded terrain of the Colorado Rockies.
And that's where you lost me at. That's where you lost me at. Hiking.
When, through the heavy brush, one of them would notice something bizarre hanging from the trees. It almost looked like a bunch of thin black vines, growing from the stems and overtaking this one particular branch, though it clearly didn't seem to belong there. As the closer they got, the more the object appeared to be man-made, which was confirmed by the sight of a horrifying discovery lying directly beneath it. Dropped there in the middle of the woods was the remnants of a small aircraft, one that had been there for what seemed like years judging by the rust and decay. And it wasn't just the craft itself that was in an awful state of decomposition, but also the 2 bodies within it. It was a heartbreaking scene, and a confusing one as well, as when officers arrived, the cause of the wreck wasn't immediately clear, and the possibility of this crash going without explanation seemed very real, had it not been for those ribbon-like vines hanging overhead. In reality, those strange objects were actually the remnants of a VHS tape, with its case being cracked open and its contents scattered about the area. And inside the craft itself were pieces of a broken camera, introducing the possibility that the 2 men inside may have been filming at the time of impact.
Damn.
And so, despite that exposed footage being out there in the elements for an extended period of time, it would be painstakingly pieced together and resurrected, revealing the following footage.
Oh my God. Yo, recording your last moments, you don't know it? Oh my God. Or you do know it. I don't know what's worse. Recording your last moments and you don't know it, or recording your last moments and you don't know it. Either way, they got fucked up. I can't imagine just...
On board the airplane had been 36-year-old pilot James Goodell, who had been taking his friend Ronald Wilmond for a flight from Granby to Jeffco, 2 regional airports in central Colorado near the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, which explains the breathtaking scenery that's so apparent throughout the footage. Throughout the 6-minute recording, we hear brief moments of monologue from James as Ronald sits behind him soaking in the view.
Look at that down there, Ronnie, on the left.
Until this moment. The moment that, by many accounts from aviation experts, forever sealed the fate of the plane and its 2 occupants. All around them were tall mountains, which, despite looking beautiful, were soon going to become obstacles for the pilot, as due to something known as density altitude.
What? What do you mean obstacles? It's big-ass mountains. You can't just... You see them. What? I don't know, maybe...
Aircraft would not have been able to climb to a higher altitude with enough time to avoid them. Though strangely, nothing is mentioned by James about this unfolding reality, leading some to theorize that he was distracted by the view, and maybe even looking downward at the pristine lake, while the mountain crept closer and closer.
Man.
It's painful once you realize the predicament they're in, as the closer they get to those mountains, the less chance they have at maneuvering around them. And by the time they do realize, it's already much too late.
I feel like homie could have he should have, just like driving, keep your eyes on the road and assess the situation. What's going on? You distracted and shit. I would hate to be in a car, in the same car with you driving. Hell no. It's just the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same motherfucking thing. You got distracted, and by the time you realized it was too late, motherfuckers. Them big ass mountains. Damn. Damn. Oh, shit. Oh my God, that happened fast. Damn. That happened quick as hell.
Recognizing their plight of certain death ahead, James was forced to attempt a nearly impossible U-turn, which ultimately would stall the plane, sending them careening to the fast-approaching ground below, where the footage cuts out moments before impact, ending the lives of these two friends in an instant. And it's there that the wreckage would sit for over 3 years until those backpackers just so happened to take that same route. Today, the video is used as a teaching lesson for so many up-and-coming pilots, as countless schools across the country show the tape to their students in the hopes of preventing a similar tragedy. But evidently, the film has also found a home in the depths of this very site, where it has come to be known as one of YouTube's darkest videos.
For once again, he has come face to face with the adverse effects of density altitude.
That's hilarious. Somebody's own cluck shits is somebody else's teaching videos. Santa Claus, hell no. Santa Claus, you missed me with that. Get out of here with that. That's the bomb you holding? What the hell?
Is this for me?
It's all yours. Now, who is left?
Not me.
It was only the 22nd of December in the year 1990, but that didn't stop Vaughn Taylor from kicking off the holiday early, as he sat by the tree pulling out gift after gift and opening them in front of an old VHS camera. Behind that camera was Edward Deli, a longtime companion of Vaughn who seemed adamant on filming his friend's reaction to the presents.
You got a light flashing on the end of that.
I don't know.
Find out.
How am I supposed to find out?
And my man. Come on, the cat second. Oh, wow.
What is it?
Baseball card.
What?
Okay.
The video is a bit awkward, as the two momentarily bicker about the camera recording, and Vaughn hardly seems to acknowledge or show any sort of gratitude in response to the gifts he's receiving. But it's seemingly nothing too out of the ordinary, and is probably reminiscent of so many other home videos out there of friends and family members timidly opening up their presents, except for one overshadowing detail, with that being who these men actually are.
Cluck asses.
Before this video was taken, both Vaughn and Edward had served time in prison, Edward for arson and Taylor for aggravated burglary. And upon their release, it was hoped that the two were now reformed and would be able to live more lawful lives, which could not have been further from the truth. Almost immediately upon being released, Vaughn would call one of his friends to tell them that both he and Edward had plans to go into the mountains and, quote-unquote, shoot some people.
Wow.
And from there, they set off into the wilderness of Oakley, Utah.
Wow.
On their expedition, the two stumbled across various cabins where they would break in and either camp out for a while or just completely ransack the place.
That's insane. You get set free or you done the time and you step 1 foot out of the jail, like the premises, out in public. You step 1 foot out and you talking about, hey, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go cluck some people up right now. What's up? What?
In most cases, the owners of these cabins were long gone for the winter due to the inclement weather of the area. Though this wasn't true for everyone, as during the same time, the Tita family, consisting of Father Rolf, his wife Kay, and their two children, Renee and Trish,
Damn.
along with their 76-year-old grandmother, Beth Potts,
She ain't
had been
cahoots.
staying in their cabin to celebrate Christmas together. And so, on the morning of the 22nd, the family would go into nearby Salt Lake City to finish off the last of their Christmas shopping, leaving the cabin unattended at the exact same time that Vaughn and Edward happened to be strolling through the area. Upon breaking in, the two quickly recognized that whoever was living there had only just momentarily stepped away and would be returning at the very latest by Christmas, as evidenced by the gifts sitting under the tree. And finding their first real opportunity to carry out their intended goal of murder, the two hunkered down and waited for the family to arrive back home.
That's insane. Just this random ass family. You don't know them. They don't know you. What the? Yo. Yeah, y'all natural born Clarkesses.
While hiding out, it's unknown what exactly the two had done to pass the time, except for a brief few minutes in which Edward would pick up the family's VHS camera and record Vaughn as he tore into the family's gift.
Oh shit.
The added context makes this video all the more disturbing, as Vaughn was opening gifts belonging to the family that they were waiting to kill. And it's made all the more chilling when you notice that Vaughn is carrying a gun, along with the moment that he says Lene Tita's name as he reads it on the gift wrapping.
And Renee.
And worst of all is that the gravity of the situation they were currently in clearly had no impact on
I should have known something was up when he was chewing a gum like that the whole time. You ever see somebody chewing gum and it just irritates you how they chewing it? I hate when people chew gum like this. Or they chew it, but when they chew it, they popping. I don't know how y'all do it. But some of y'all, when y'all chew gum, but popping it at the same time. How are y'all doing it? It's like y'all don't need to blow out a bubble to pop it. Y'all popping like 5, 6 bubbles at a time. Like, how are y'all doing that? Stop. 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 But I hate when, like, the way he's chewing that gum, I should have known something was up.
two men, as they were completely emotionless. And unsurprisingly, things only get darker from here, as after a few hours, Beth, Kay, and Lene would pull into the driveway. Upon entering the house, the pair of men...
Beth, Kay, and Lene, that's 3 people. But he mentioned, was it 5? It was I think it was a mom, dad, 2 daughters, and the grandmother. So we're missing 2 people.
Immediately point their guns at the family and start making demands, to which Lene responded by praying to God that her and her family be spared, which was of no use, as Edward turned to her and claimed that her prayers wouldn't work, as he only worshipped the devil. And moments later, the two would grab her mother and grandmother and end their lives for no apparent reason.
Oh my God.
This left only 20-year-old Lene, who tried desperately to convince the men to leave, knowing in the back of her mind that her father Rolf and sister Trish would be arriving soon. But it was to no avail, as her pleading was interrupted by the sound of another snowmobile pulling into the driveway. Upon exiting their vehicle, both Trish and Rolf would be held at gunpoint, with Rolf being told to strip his clothes and give up all his money. Again, pleas were made to just take anything and leave them alone, but the 2 men remained unfazed. They wanted to cause pain and anguish to anyone and everyone, and nothing was going to stop them. And so, Vaughn pointed his gun at Rolf and pulled the trigger, striking the man in the face before delivering one final blow to the back of his head, leaving just the 2 daughters. Having thoroughly decimated what just an hour before was a happy, healthy family, Vaughn and Edward would cover Rolf and the cabin in gasoline and set them on fire, before hijacking the snowmobiles with the 2 remaining daughters and driving away down the hill to a nearby road. However, they weren't alone. On their way out, the kidnappers and their victims would notice a man waving to them in the distance, with the individual being Randy Zorn, their uncle, who recognized the 2 girls and attempted to flag them down, However, knowing that had they acknowledged their relationship, it would almost certainly get the man killed, they chose to ignore him and told the kidnappers that they had no idea who he was. Sensing something was off, Randy would follow the group down the mountain where the men were now loading into the family's car. He waved to them once more, this time yelling at the group to stop and even running after them. But again, the girls pretended not to know them, sacrificing a chance at being saved in order to protect their uncle. Confused by this bizarre encounter and apparent urgency from the girls, Randy began to fear that something bad had happened at the family cabin, which was only confirmed when he heard another snowmobile tearing down the mountain. On it was a barely clothed Rolf, who despite being shot in the head twice, set on fire, and his eyes being almost completely swollen shut, was somehow alive, and a man
Pure adrenaline. How you say it? Adrenaline? Or he got that Adidas adrenaline. Mother Clark came back to life talking about what's up. That's not funny. That's not funny.
To get on a snowmobile to find help, and it was there that he told Randy, "I've been shot, my wife has been killed, and my daughters have been kidnapped." Something that most likely saved the lives of those two girls, as the police were contacted and were able to quickly track down the vehicle, where the kidnappers would accidentally run it right off the road, flipping it over multiple times before crashing into a ravine. Quite shockingly, no one would be badly injured in the wreck, and following a brief shootout, Vaughn and Edward gave in and were swiftly arrested, bringing this whole nightmare to an end. When the dust eventually settled...
Okay, I have a question. They was already in jail, right? So from the moment they left the jail or prison and they went to this random family's house and them getting caught and arrested, how was that? Did that all happen in one day? You're lying. You're lying, bro. I know it was quick, but I'm trying to figure out, did it happen all in one day?
Edward would end up receiving life in prison, while Vaughn, the man shown here opening the family's gifts, was sentenced to death, with both men reportedly being visibly shocked at the sight of Rolf when he showed up to court to testify against them. Rolf would later go on to make a full recovery, which definitely ends the story off on an empowering note, though the carnage left behind by these two men in the moments following this video make it undoubtedly one of the darkest on the site.
Jesus.
Before we get into our next case, I want to first thank...
I'm gonna keep watching the southwest side. It's where most of them come from.
You think it's likely?
No. The odds are way against it, even in weather like this. But there's always a chance.
The day was already off to a terrifying start, as hail began to fall from the sky and the sun became completely concealed by the dark clouds forming overhead. This was nothing out of the ordinary for the area, though, as Joplin, Missouri is and has been notorious for its consistent threat of massive tornadoes.
Shouts out to anybody that live in that area, like consistently. I couldn't do it. Hail, I couldn't do it. I could probably handle other, weather conditions, but hail, you got it.
And so, despite the fear of an impending tornado looming in the area, many just continued about their normal lives.
What?
Including a select few who even showed up for school.
What?
Like Will Norton. The then 16-year-old had been attending Joplin High School, which he was headed for that very day to attend an early morning tennis practice, only to be met by those extreme conditions, with Will later going on to describe the harrowing events of that day in a YouTube video titled, "I Nearly Died."
So I get ready really fast and I rush to school, out the door, and then I'm leaving for school and there is just tons of rain and the wind is so crazy. You just see water. It's like horizontal rain and all the cars are like veering. I was having trouble keeping my car on the road.
It seems like you're getting a thrill out of telling this story. It seems like you was getting the thrill out of being there in the first place. That was look at that, man. God damn. Do you see the radar, like the weather shits behind them? Oh my God. That's like 90% of America. Jesus Christ. Like, bro, I don't understand. You're seeing this in real life, and you still decide to go to school. Cool. Can you imagine, like, checking the weather app and seeing, like, it says hail is calling ass to you? Why would you leave the house?
I have a Hummer. This should not be happening. Anyway, I made it safely home, and I think I'm just gonna go take a nap for the rest of my life because I didn't die. Oh my gosh, I'm done.
The video was posted to his YouTube channel called WildeBeest88883333, where he had found genuine success in the early days of YouTube, becoming a pioneer on what was then a brand new space, long before YouTubers were ever actually a thing. But throughout his entire channel, this upload was by far the most chilling, not just due to the brush with death he experienced that day, but because of the events that would unfold just 2 years following its release. The date was May 2nd, 2011, but for students of Joplin High School, they simply referred to it as Graduation Day, the day in which Will and his classmates would walk the stage into the next chapter of their lives. It was an event that Will and his family watched excitedly.
Oh, this alright, so I think this is on Netflix. I think it's called Twister. I just watched it. Bro, I seen that shit. Yeah, I think this is the same thing. It was a graduation. I cannot remember the name. I'll probably put it in text or show it like a screenshot or some shit that I was watching. I think it was the same. I think this is the same exact thing.
The crowd before the moment was interrupted by the ringing of a tornado siren. These sirens lasted only around 30 seconds, leaving many unfazed as they were practically a daily routine in the area, given just how common severe weather was. And with no further alerts coming through their phones, aside from a standard warning letting them know that conditions were ripe for a tornado, things continued on as normal from there. With the rain now starting to fall, Will's sister Sarah, along with their mother and grandmother, chose to hop in the car and head home in order to get a head start on preparation for the night's graduation party, leaving Will and his father around 20 minutes behind, with Will driving the two home in his beloved Hummer, which he had mentioned often across his channel. And with that, the family was split up into two cars, one that at this point was almost home, and another that was just beginning their route. Which is when things began to get more worrisome. Suddenly, the rain fell even harder, and the winds began blowing horizontally, to the point that trees were starting to bend over and eventually break due to the strain. Recognizing the worsening conditions, Mark would call Sarah, who had just arrived at home, to ask her to open the garage for them so they can pull right in and avoid having to get out in this worsening weather. A request that couldn't be completed, as right after their phone call, the power would suddenly shut off, rendering the door impossible to open. And so, Sarah called back with the update to let the two know that they would likely have to park outside and make a run for it through the front door. Though by this point, the sound of wind was nearly deafening over the phone.
I'm telling you, bro, if I get out this car, I'm flying. If I get out this car, I'm flying!
And despite repeatedly asking, "Dad, where are you?" all she could hear was wind. Until the sound was broken by her father yelling, "Will, pull over. There's the tornado. Pull over."
Oh my God.
From the KSN Storm Center, this is a severe weather alert.
Good evening. We've got some information on this storm. Let's go ahead and go to the Freeman First Alert Doppler radar. Trained weather spotters in Galena are reporting now sightings of funnel clouds going off in Joplin. Those are definitely power flashes that we are seeing on the ground.
Have a tornado on the ground?
This is a tornado. Yeah, this is a very dangerous situation. We cannot stress this enough. If you are in Joplin...
sounds so nonchalant. He sounds like he is not serious. Probably, I don't know where he's. Bro, yeah, no, this is a real tornado. It's strong. If you're outside, I suggest you not be outside. If you are, you're going to get clucked up. Yeah, it's raining everywhere. It's windy, high winds. You know, hail the size of golf balls, like in that movie 2012. Man, it's the tornado is coming. It's coming. It's coming fast. So yeah.
Please take cover. No, it is certainly going off. Caitlin, I'm just looking out the door right now. Please do not go outside.
Towering in front of Will and his father was a massive 1 mile wide tornado.
God dang.
With its winds gusting around 250 miles per
Oh
hour.
my God.
It was an EF5, the highest ranking a tornado can achieve. And now, Will and Mark were directly in its path. Suddenly, all Sarah could hear over the phone was the sound of crashing and destruction before the call would be dropped. In that very moment, the tornado would come in direct contact with the Hummer, causing it to flip in the air multiple times. And despite Mark desperately holding on to his son, Will would slip through his father's arms and be sucked out of the car's sunroof.
Shit!
Somehow, Mark would manage to survive the direct hit of the tornado, but so many others were not as lucky, as the disaster would leave a staggering 158 people dead,
Oh my
including
God.
Will, who despite being missing for days, would be found at the bottom of a nearby pond days later. The story alone is incredibly grim, but it's made all the more disturbing by the video posted 2 years before, which now features so many chilling moments of foreshadowing.
I'd pull over into the big puddles and I was like, ah. Keep in mind, I drive a Hummer, so really I shouldn't have any reason to be scared. Anyway, I made it safely home, and I think I'm just gonna go.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, who? Oh, is this is this channel still up? Or more importantly, is this video still up? Let me check. What is this? Oh man. Hold on. I don't know.
Take a nap for the rest of my life. I'm done. I am done. I'm never driving in weather again, ever. Bye, guys.
He said I'm taking a nap for the rest of my life. That was so much spot on. I'm not. God damn.
But although this certainly classifies as one of the darker videos on the site, the Norton family has turned this tragedy into something positive and celebrates his life as opposed to focusing on his tragic passing, with Sarah herself even bravely coming forward and releasing a video outlining her entire story of that day.
He's in a good place. It's just hard on us who are left here dealing with all of it, but it's okay.
I remember there was like a couple of, I don't know, minutes before this, they show like the storm and a stop sign flying off. Is that this?
He's just in the best place ever. So, yeah, that's something to be happy about. He wouldn't want us to be sad.
Is this channel still up?
The time is getting closer and closer. The seconds are ticking. Excitement is building.
Alright.
It was set to be the party of the year, a celebration to say goodbye to 2008 and hello to a brand new promising year. It was New Year's Eve, the day where everyone is looking for a fun party to attend. And in Bangkok, Thailand, the Santika Club was the place to be. The event was dubbed Goodbye Santika, hitting on the theme of leaving the past behind and starting fresh in this new year. And in preparation, promotional commercials would be shot and aired all throughout the region, building up even more hype for the much anticipated event.
It's 2009. What? Y'all doing all this for? I could see it was like about to be the year 2000. You know, 2012. I know everybody was on eggshells. 2011, 1158, 1159. I know hella people was walking on eggshells, bro. Yeah, but it's just turning, 2009. What the hell? It's not that serious. I mean, it is serious because you got to see another year, but it's like, what?
Goodbye, Santika. It promised to be their best show yet, with live music from numerous well-known artists and, of course, lots and lots of alcohol. And sure enough, as New Year's Eve rolled around, this hype would translate into a large crowd swarming the doors to be part of this special occasion. And as the clock ticked closer and closer to midnight, the crowd only continued to grow, with it being estimated that as many as 1,000 people were in attendance.
Jesus.
At this point, very few videos exist from this night, though in the time since, 3 key clips have come forward that piece together the events which transpired once the crowd had gathered. At 11:44 p.m., with the big day only minutes away, this video was taken up close to the stage, showing not only the high energy of the night, but also the massive people crammed into this venue.
I had a question. With all these people here, like the concert it's on level ground, right? It's not like on a 3rd or 4th level, right? Right? Because if it's on like another level, everybody falling. But if it's like on a level ground, I think you good.
It truly was the place to be, the kind of party that so many would have loved to be part of.
Not me.
But this wasn't even the main event. Midnight was fast approaching, and the owner of the club had promised a spectacle that the city would never forget. And so an idea was hatched, to give patrons sparklers which would be lit and used during the countdown.
Cameraman suck.
The camera shuts off after first showing a happy couple celebrating together, and then panning to the stage where the performers were hyping up the crowd even more and launching pyrotechnics of their own into the air, adding to the explosive atmosphere within the club. And finally, we have our third and final video, this one having taken place just a few minutes following the cell phone footage. Only this time, the cameraman was outside of the venue.
I bet you it was all them damn sparks.
No one really knows how it started. Perhaps it was the fireworks launched indoors as part of the performance. Or maybe it was the countless sparklers handed out to a sea of drunken people. Or potentially it was a combination of both. But regardless, somehow a blaze had erupted, quickly spreading to the club ceiling, where the crowd would actually cheer it on, mistakenly believing that it was part of the event, as at that same exact time, a band just so happened to be performing by the name of Burn.
Wow.
By this point, the performers knew immediately that the fire was unplanned and that an emergency was brewing, and so they slipped off the stage and out the back exit, with no guidance being given to the 1,000+ people in the venue, none of whom had realized the danger they were truly in, until the power would shut down, with the inside falling pitch black and silent, save for the crackling of the spreading fire, illuminating the area to avoid, but not the area to run to. and suddenly, panic-driven chaos ensued. There were multiple exits, but just too many people, too much darkness, too much smoke. And in a matter of just a few minutes, the fire had consumed every inch of safety within that building.
God damn.
The tales told from within that event are horrid, with some of the most disturbing being not about the crush of humans surging towards the exit, or the unstoppable blaze moving at lightning speed, but instead, about a chandelier. In the video preceding the disaster, we see briefly through the low-quality imagery a chandelier, the club's crown jewel, measuring in at a whopping 10 meters in diameter.
Yeah, that shit falling on somebody. Or a few people. Or a lot of people. Yeah, that shit gonna fall on somebody and hurt. That shit, man. Hey, yo.
And weighing over a ton. And while the fire began to spread to the ceiling, it came in contact with the base of this massive artifact, causing it to heat up and eventually snap from its support, landing atop of the crowd below and taking the lives of multiple people.
Oh my God.
When the smoke eventually cleared on the catastrophe and the carnage was fully revealed, it would be announced that 67 people had lost their lives that day, with countless others being burned and permanently disfigured, leading to the club owner being jailed for 3 years.
That's it? The club owner only got 3 years? This is your building. This is... Nah.
Despite the true cause still being debated to this day, the video from directly beforehand shows just how lax the safety measures were, as even if they weren't the direct cause, giving sparklers to 1,000 drunken people indoors was just a disaster waiting to happen.
That was stupid.
And in the end, the party truly did live up to its name. Goodbye, Santika, as the club was burned past the point of recognition, and now sits as dark as the videos surrounding it.
So where's the owner now? I'm assuming he's out and about. Just that's a lot. That's a lot on your shoulders, man. That's a lot on your building collapsed and it killed a hell of people, clogged up hell of people. Is that on him? Is that on him, the owner? Or is it on the people that build the building? Either way, that's gonna be on my shoulders for the rest of my life.
Our final video is probably one of the most unusual cases that I've come across in quite some time, with that being the story of Akmal Shaikh. Born in Pakistan in 1956, Shaikh had spent the majority of his life unnoticed, spending his days mainly outside of the gaze of the public eye, though that didn't mean his life was uneventful by any means. Over the years, Shaikh would move from country to country starting numerous new businesses, like in the 80s when he moved to the US to become a real estate agent, and then in the 90s when he moved to London to start a minicab business, with the only problem being that none of these ventures ever really stuck, causing him to live in a state of poverty, even at one point going bankrupt following the decline of his cab business. And his failures didn't stop there, as in 2003, Shaikh would be accused of sexual harassment and unfair dismissal of a 24-year-old employee, resulting in his wife taking his kids and filing for a divorce, which would be far from his last legal struggle. In 2005, Shaikh was placed under official investigation following the London bombings, as he was caught sending a text to his friends stating, "Now everyone will understand who Muslims are and what jihad is," while at the same time being accused of threatening his ex-wife. Now none of these claims ever led to any official legal charges, though he would be arrested just months later for driving under the influence. As you can see, Sheikh's life was a roller coaster, and at this point he was on his largest drop yet, disgraced and living off of handouts and eating out of soup kitchens nearly every night, until the year 2007, when his life would change forever. During a public demonstration that year, Shaikh would be introduced to a man named Gareth Saunders, a musician who had ties all throughout the music industry, including with numerous recording studios in the area. And it was during this chance meeting that Sheikh's life purpose would be discovered. At some point prior, Shaikh, a man with no musical experience whatsoever, had written a song called Come Little Rabbit, which he believed would propel him to worldwide stardom. But it went even deeper than that, as Shaikh was so sure that not only would the song break records and become a global phenomenon, but also that it would bring the world together and usher in a new era of peace on Earth. In a sense, he believed that this song could truly save the world, and with this in mind, he began to beg his new acquaintance to help him record the song in a studio, a request that Gareth eventually seemed to accept, as that very same year, Come Little Rabbit would be recorded and released to the public.
Come little rabbit, come to me. Come little rabbit, let it be. Come little rabbit, come and pray. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah.
So that song, that song, you was hoping was meant for the, wait, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. You thought that song was gonna help the world come together. My guy. This is why we have different genres of music, because yeah. This is my first time and last time listening to this. I'm not, and all right.
As you can probably tell just based on how things are going so far, the song did not perform as intended, and sadly the world did not come together in harmony upon its release, likely because the song just wasn't very good. The sad reality of the situation was that Akmal Shaikh was a very mentally unwell man, and these big dreams that he had throughout his life were, in most cases, more so delusions. And though we don't know for sure what exactly he was suffering from, many close to him described his behavior as being on par with severe bipolar disorder, and Come Little Rabbit was the latest example of his struggling mental state, representing a point in which he detached his furthest from reality. And sadly, it was this very song that would drive his life to an even lower point. As the world continued on with its usual chaos after the release of Come Little Rabbit, Shaikh still believed that it could provide peace on Earth, becoming convinced that the only reason it hadn't worked already was that no one knew who he was. But this was all going to change after he received an opportunity that would shift the course of his life. Around the same time, Shaikh was introduced to a man named Akmal, who had just the opportunity waiting for him. By pure chance, a once-in-a-lifetime performance had opened up in one of China's biggest nightclubs that just so happened to be owned by Akmal, and supposedly being impressed by Come Little Rabbit, Akmal decided he was going to fly Shaikh out to China to fill that slot and perform in front of thousands. And so on September 12, 2007, Akmal would be flown to China free of charge to make his dream a reality. But before leaving, Shaikh was given a single suitcase by Akmal, which he was told to bring along with him to their destination, since due to a scheduling conflict, Akmal had to grab a later flight, leaving Akmal all on his own. By all accounts, the flight there went smoothly, though trouble quickly arose when the plane touched down at Urumqi Airport in China, as there was one major issue. Shaikh didn't speak the language, and so, once released at the gate, the man had no idea where to go and was unable to communicate with anyone, leading to him pacing around.
Damn! That's clocked. That is clocked. Ain't nobody at that airport can't speak his language? Y'all know how to ask? Ain't nobody spoke his language? Damn!
Nervously and acting slightly erratic, which didn't go unnoticed by airport security. They watched the man's behavior deteriorate for several minutes before ultimately making the decision to detain him and search his belongings. believing that surely he was up to something suspicious, which is when they'd open that very bag given to Akmal by Akmal, only to discover a staggering 4 kilograms of heroin.
Oh my God.
The discovery sent Shaikh into a panic, as he was completely unaware that he was transporting illegal contents because the bag didn't even belong to him, stating adamantly that it belonged to his friend Akmal, who was flying in on the next flight and would be there soon to help clear things up. And so surprisingly, security seemed to believe him, as they all sat waiting for Akmal to step off the next plane and set the entire situation straight, though he never did.
Damn. I tell you what, if I ever see old boy again, or if I ever see him, it's on sight.
In reality, Shaikh had been tricked into becoming a drug mule, taken advantage of with his mental illness used against him to make him commit a crime he had nothing to do with. There was never any club and there was never any performance. It was all just a ruse. And despite the authorities' willingness to wait for the man at first, their patience soon wore thin, and Shaikh was arrested for...
Do they have to walk like that? Hold on, go back. Go back. Why are they walking like that? Ain't no way. I'm not. Do y'all have to walk like that?
More thin, and Shaikh was arrested for drug smuggling, with his punishment being death.
Oh my God.
British man convicted of drug smuggling and...
Oh boy. Oh. I'm coming back and I'm haunting you for the rest of your life. And then when I meet you in the afterlife, it's on sight. Because I got the death penalty for something that I didn't even know nothing about. That's insane. That's yeah.
China has now been told of his fate. Akmal Shaikh will be executed by firing squad within 24 hours unless the Chinese authorities have mercy on him. His family says he has a history of mental illness and may have been duped into smuggling drugs by traffickers.
The decision was extremely controversial all across the world, with the backlash leading to the case being heard for a second time in 2009. And despite numerous requests by Shaikh's lawyer to have the man undergo a mental evaluation, as he had been quite clearly taken advantage of, they were rejected, and the initial ruling was upheld, with a date being set for his execution on the 29th of December. Following this shocking decision, the first and one of the only 4 recordings of
Damn, just days after Christmas? That's man, goddamn.
Little Rabbit would be posted to YouTube, which featured not only the lyrics, but also the sad story of Shaikh along with it, including a call to the viewers to join the effort in stopping the impending execution, as part of a massive final push to change the minds of China's government.
Come to me, come little rabbit, let it be. Come little rabbit, let it pray. La ilaha illallah.
But it was no use, and on the morning of December 29th, Akmal Shaikh would receive a lethal injection, with China supposedly walking back their plans to execute him via firing squad, though either way the man was dead, and his body would never be returned. Today, the video of Akmal's song and the pleas to save his life remain as a forgotten relic here on YouTube, encapsulating the story of a man whose desire to bring the world together in song was cruelly taken advantage of. And though it was peace that he was so desperately seeking, the song would only lead to his ultimate demise.
Come little rabbit, come to me.
Until next time, happy hunting.
I mean, no doubt the song was trash, but that's the only thing that we got to. That's the only thing that to remember him by is that song. Oh my God. Oh my God. The guy that set him up ain't. Oh my God. I'm mad. Oh my God, bro. I can't believe that shit really happened. They set him up. And he had a mental illness that got taken advantage of. That's insane. That's goddamn. Yeah, homie. Yeah. If I see you in the afterlife, oh, first of all, I was dead ass when I said, I'm coming back and I'm haunting you for the rest of your life. And then when you come to the afterlife, it's on site. Yeah, I'm dead. I was dead ass about that. That's insane. You got some messed up people in this mother clucking world, bro. And I just, you know what's crazy? It's probably, y'all know the Watcher in Marvel? That's probably a real thing. But we just can't see it, sense it, smell it, see it, all that, all the five senses. But that the Watcher knows. Oh my God. Now I got, man, yeah. I can't. Oh my God, that just made me mad. Keep it cool, keep it classy. And I love you, stay happy. My family.